Yes, and hello once again. I'm Max Ratt, and welcome to the Max Ratt Deconstruction Zone. Yeah, so it's August 18th, Sunday, and I got another show for you today. You know what? It took me such a while to put it all together because there was just so much to put into it. But it actually, I'm very pleased with the what I put together for the show. The name of the show will be Al-Qaeda for Dummies. And basically, because of the recent terror threat, that the global terror threat that our propaganda ministry put out in the news in the beginning of August, they're telling us about, we have to be worried about terrorism and Al-Qaeda again. And I got frustrated. I was just like, you know what? Let me just do a show on telling people, explaining to people that Al-Qaeda is fake. It doesn't exist. It's a made-up, stupid story to propagate all these different agendas that have to do with war and police state and taking and eviscerating the Constitution and your rights, and all these things are built around this gigantic lie about the war on terror and Al Qaeda and the boogeyman and is it coming to get you and all these stupid things. So you know what? I got a long show ahead of me, so I'm gonna rock it right now, get it going. Welcome aboard the Max Ratt Deconstruction Zone. I'm Max Ratt. It's August 18th, 2013, and here we go with the show. Welcome aboard the Max Ratt Deconstruction Zone. Thanks for coming.
Well, what about Max? What does Max think?
The war on terrorism is nothing but a grotesque lie. Anytime you hear the war on terror, know that the people saying it are lying or they're dupes or whatever they are. But it's just a total gigantic lie.
We must finish the work of defeating Al-Qaeda and its associated forces.
They will rescue us from dreadful dangers that we cannot see and do not understand.
Yep, they're going to rescue us from dreadful dangers we cannot see and we do not understand. And that's what this is all about. Let's keep it going.
Global terrorism, global terrorism, global terrorism, global terrorism, global terrorism, 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 terrorism.
The evil terrorists. Terrorists, 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 terrorists,
Terrorist, 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 terrorist,
terrorists,
Terrorists,
terrorist, terrorist,
terrorists, 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 terrorists.
I bet you're good and scared, huh? Well, you should be.
I bet you got good scared of that one, huh? That was Count Floyd, by the way. Keep it going.
Neither I nor any president can promise the total defeat of terror.
Okay, so here we go. That was Obama on his recent terror speech, but he's like, I can't promise you that we're going to defeat terror. So that, he just keep tipping you off that we're going to do this forever until either everything comes crashing down, collapses, or we move into the global government, or however it's going to. But he's not going to promise that they're not going to stop running fake terror and real and creating and raining real terror upon us as well. All of it is run out of the same groups. These people are terrorized. The government terror and the shadow government, the people who run things behind the scenes, are terrorizing you and me and us. And the idea of these Arab Muslim boogeymen or homegrown extremists or whatever you want to call it, there is no evidence of any of that, and that's what the show is going to be about today. And I will prove my case and state my case strongly and support it as I always do. And so stay tuned and we're going to rock it. Here we go.
For Americans all around the world, are we telling people, don't take that European vacation just yet? Or what are we saying? Okay, so that was on Leno's show where Obama was made an appearance right when they put out this terror threat. And right away, Leno is feeding him his softball lines, and he's going to tell
tell you that, be careful about going on your vacation this year. And again, there's nothing that the world government criminals want more than to keep you shut up, keep you in your place, don't go anywhere, don't move, don't travel, don't fly on airplanes, and that's all part of the Orwellian police state that they have planned for us.
This radical, violent extremism is still out there.
Mm-hmm. The ideas, the thoughts, and the opinions of the masses are being manipulated through fear.
Oh, yes. And that's going to be another theme of the show throughout, will be how it's all about making you scared, putting you into a position to be in fear, and then all the rest follows accordingly. That'll be well supported and proven in the show as well. Keep it going.
Now, keep in mind that our military spending has gone up every single year that I've been in office. We spend more on our military than the next 10 countries combined.
Yep, we're bragging about that.
So we can't touch our already streamlined defense budget. Might affect our flying hologram laser tank program.
For over the last decade, our nation has spent well over $1 trillion on war.
He says over the last decade. I would argue that might be that's about per year, but keep it going. It's certainly more than $1 trillion in the last decade. Keep it going.
I was increasingly compelled to see the war as an enemy of the poor and attack it as such. And I knew that I could never again raise my voice against the violence of the oppressed without having first spoken clearly to the greatest purveyor of violence in the world today, my own government.
That clip speaks for itself.
I am living testimony to the moral force of nonviolence.
I just threw that one in there. I don't know what that's supposed to mean, because for a President Peace Prize over there to be telling you he's testimony to the moral force of nonviolence, he's stepping up drone attacks, starting new wars, attacking Libya, attacking Syria, bombing this one, that one. So I'm not sure what that's supposed to mean, but I threw it in there just to get you in a perspective on where we're going with this. Keep it going.
And I said, how are you going to convince people that this war is real? He said, but the media can convince everybody it's real. I mean, it's just that you keep talking about things, you keep saying it over and over and over again, and eventually people believe it.
In my line of work, you got to keep repeating things over and over and over again for the truth to sink in.
Finally, bin Laden's media advisor arrives.
Okay, that was Peter Arnett who interviewed bin Laden in his cave, and he was encountering Peter Arnett was encountering bin Laden's media advisor arrived. Okay, and let's just keep it going. You'll get the picture on this one for sure.
The official tells us they even talked about their media plan for after the attacks take place.
Okay, so that was the NBC clip recently about the terror threat that just came through in the beginning of August, and he's saying that they intercepted these email messages, and that's how they heard about the threat. And they also said they're even talking about their media plan after the threat. Oh, isn't that convenient?
What are your future plans?
You'll see them and hear about them in the media, God willing.
Okay, so that was Peter Arnett asking Osama. That was supposedly Osama bin Laden's words. He's like, you'll hear about him in the media, God willing, inshallah. Okay?
I mean, is this some kind of incredible joke that people are so stupid they'll fall for this? Do you know how much money the CIA and the National Security Agency and the FBI has at its disposal each year? Do you know how many agents they have that they can devote to this? Do you realize the technology that they have to be able to eavesdrop on every single conversation in the world? And they can't find Osama bin Laden, but some CNN reporter, he just waltzes right on in there with his camera crew.
Right. Again, the point of the show is to show you that this is all a giant made up stupid story, and just off the bat, so we have CNN interviewing Osama bin Laden in his cave, okay, supposedly. Not only did Peter Arnett supposedly interview him, but then this guy John Miller he was on CNN back in the day also, I think, but now he's on ABC, and or maybe he was on CNN, maybe he was on ABC then too, I don't really remember, but he interviewed Bin Laden too, but we can't find him though. CIA can't find him, and all our intelligence agencies can't find him. But Peter Arnett and John Miller can, and this other Arabic guy, he interviewed him in Arabic after 9/11 supposedly. He interviewed him too, but we can't find him. Isn't that fun?
That means the media is complicit in the cover-up. They're not hapless. They're not ignorant. How come I can figure this out and CNN can't?
Because the media all works together to make sure that you get the wrong message, which they'll tell you is the right one.
We have to declare war on things here in America. Anything we don't like about ourselves, we have to declare war on it. Don't do anything about it. We just declare war on it.
So yes, the instruments of war do have a role to play in preserving the peace.
That was from Obama's President Peace Prize speech, and he said that the instruments of war have a role to play in preserving the peace. Isn't that Orwellian?
War is peace. Freedom is slavery. Ignorance is strength.
Oh, yeah.
It is necessary now to make a choice, to choose between two admittedly regrettable but nevertheless distinguishable post-war environments. One where you got 20 million people killed, and the other where you got 150 million people killed.
You're talking about mass murder, General, not war.
Mr. President, I'm not saying we wouldn't get our hair mussed, but I do say no more than 10 to 20 million killed, tops.
There you go, from Dr. Strangelove. He's like, no more than 10 to 20 million killed. That's the George C. Scott playing the top general in the war room at the Pentagon. Let's keep it going.
That's our new job in the world, bombing brown people. Iraq, Panama, Grenada, Libya. You got some brown people in your country. Tell them to watch the fuck out.
2 million Americans have gone to war since 9/11.
I don't feel about that war the way we were told we were supposed to feel about that war, the way we were ordered and instructed by the United States government to feel about that war.
It's entertainment for Americans. Oh, we're kicking somebody else's butt. You know, we're the great macho power. We're on the march here and there and so on. So it's a form of entertainment, helps their advertising revenues.
Cause we'll put a boot in your ass, it's the American way. America. Fuck yeah! Fuck yeah! Freedom is the only way, yeah. It's the dream that we all share. It's the hope for tomorrow.
That's how because the average person throughout the world is totally against war and fighting and killing other people for various reasons. But I think it's instinctive. I don't think that that people have a natural willingness to want to go to war at all. Even contrary to what anybody, I don't want to hear what you have to say because I'm sure of that in general. But you have a very, very select few people who profit off of war and benefit off of this war and are evil to begin with, and that's where we're going with it. So what they try to do is they try to hype everybody up like, yeah, we're America, we'll kick your ass, we'll put a boot in your ass, we'll fuck you up, and that's to get everybody, riled up about, against the enemy, like we have to create an enemy that everybody can rally behind, and then we can get, okay, let's go to war against them, and then we'll go kill people, yeah, and isn't that cool and fun, and that's, if you think that that's in your best interest, you're absolutely kidding yourself.
Either you're with us, either you love freedom and with nations which embrace freedom, or you're with the enemy.
There you go. You're either with us, meaning who? Clinton and Bush and Obama, or you with the enemy. That sounds like a hell of a choice there. Here we go.
There are those who are seeking to equate dissent with disloyalty. It's a dark day in our nation when high-level authorities will seek to use every method to silence dissent.
There you go, Martin Luther King telling you that either with us or with the enemy. That's silencing dissent. That's saying, you're not loyal, you're not a patriot, or if you're not with us, going to war against fake terrorists. Yeah. Keep it going.
Either you're with us, either you love freedom and with nations which embrace freedom, or you're with the enemy.
There are those who are seeking to equate dissent with disloyalty. It's a dark day in our nation when high-level authorities will seek to use every method to silence dissent.
I know there's nothing weak, nothing passive, nothing naive in the creed and lives of Gandhi and King. But as a head of state, sworn to protect and defend my nation, I cannot be guided by their examples alone.
You're either with us or you're with the enemy. That's clear.
Right, so Obama's like, listen, I know Gandhi and Martin Luther King are, have great said great words, but he's like, first, and he says as a head of a state, like in other words, like, well, Martin Luther King wasn't president, so he doesn't know what that's like. And then he says, I cannot be guided by them, but I can't be bothered with what Gandhi and Martin Luther King said. President Peace Prize, that was in his Peace Prize speech as well.
I know there's nothing weak, nothing passive, nothing naive in the creed and lives of Gandhi and King. But as a head of state, sworn to protect and defend my nation, I cannot be guided by their examples alone.
You're either with us or you're with the enemy. That's clear.
My government will work to prevent conflict and reduce terrorism.
Oh, thank you, my queen. Thank you, Your Majesty. And let's keep it going from there.
Terrorists depend on the idea that we're going to be terrorized, and we.
Oh yeah, they depend. Terrorists depend on terrorists. Terrorists depend on the idea that we'll be terrorized. And here's the BBC. Well, here's NBC talking about Osama bin Laden and his affinity towards avoiding detection and avoiding capture. And you want to see, he has a very sophisticated plan for avoiding capture.
Of how bin Laden lived in secret for all those years. For instance, to avoid detection, he at one point shaved off his world-famous beard. He bought his compound using a fake national ID card. When venturing outside, he liked to wear a wide-brimmed cowboy hat to avoid aerial detection.
Okay, now, I feel like if I'm calling the show Al-Qaeda for Dummies, I feel like I could end the show right there on that clip alone. Okay, let me say that again, because if that's on NBC News, okay, they're telling you that the way that Osama bin Laden avoided capture, I'm telling you he doesn't exist at all. I think that's outright proof right there. Okay, that he avoided capture by shaving his beard and wearing a cowboy hat so satellites couldn't see him when he left the house. Okay, or whatever, or for 10 years. Okay, so if you're running from the law, or from international intelligence, you know what? Go run and buy a cowboy hat, and maybe buy some hair dye or some hair club for men, or shave your beard, buy a razor, and you should be good to go for at least another 10 years. That should work for you. It doesn't matter if we spend $1 trillion a year. No, just get a cowboy hat. You see, I believe that clip alone. I should end the show right there on that clip. I'm not gonna deprive you of a good show today, so I won't do that. But frankly, that should be the end of the show right there.
Of how bin Laden lived in secret for all those years. For instance, to avoid detection, he at one point shaved off his world-famous beard. He bought his compound using
his world-famous beard, and he has a fake ID, like a teenager.
Fake national ID card. When venturing outside, he liked to wear a wide-brimmed cowboy hat to avoid aerial detection.
Avoiding aerial detection with a wide brim cowboy hat. There you go. That's what you're being told in the media, and that's the same media that you're using to tell yourself that this stuff exists. That's the problem with this. Okay, those are the people telling you to believe in Osama bin Laden, are also telling you that he wears a cowboy hat to avoid capture. I think that's definitive proof right there. Okay, but I'm going to pile it on even more and more for you. Here we go.
This has happened before. He's just vanishing right under our noses like a magic trick.
Okay, so that's from the show Homeland, where they're like, she's in the CIA, and then of course, and they have all kinds of sex every show to keep you riveted to the screen, and then that helps persuade you into accepting this nonsense. Okay, so she's like, he seems to vanish and like magic all the time, and all they're Al-Qaeda people that they're chasing. They always seem to get away right at the nick of time and stuff like that, and they're trying to get you to believe that. Well, that's why we haven't caught him yet, because he was wearing a cowboy hat and we missed him. He shaved his beard and we just didn't. It was like magic. He vanished like magic because he shaved his beard. I'm combining the two clips, but here, listen to what she says again. This is from Homeland, which is a very popular show on Showtime. Lots of sex and pretty girls running around in that show to keep you interested, and while they propagandize the shit out of you like a moron. Keep it going.
This has happened before. He's just vanishing right under our noses like a magic trick.
That's happened before. He just vanishes like a magic trick. This happens all the time. He shaves his beard, he changes his hat, he gets a false fake ID, and then, he just disappears.
How close were you to Osama bin Laden when you were with him?
A meter to a meter and a half away at most.
I was a meter and a meter. How close were you? I was a meter away. Now, that was supposedly Osama bin Laden's bodyguard. Okay, so they know where he is, so they're interviewing his bodyguard. They interviewed two different people, found him and interviewed him personally, Osama bin Laden himself. A third person did also, who's Arabic, and the interview was supposedly in Arabic. That was to propagandize even the Arabic Muslim world, which just kills me to no end, because they all believe this crap also, which is unfortunate, obviously. And so his body. So they're interviewing. They know everybody. There's all kinds of people who have been. He's a meter away from him or around him, and that's also to prove to you. See, I told you he exists. This guy said he was standing a meter away from him. And John Miller and Peter Arnett from CNN both saw him. They saw him too. I promise you, he's there. He exists. I promise you. And he wears, and he's so clever that he puts that cowboy hat on, and then 10 years later, that cowboy hat was working for 10 years. That and the fake ID and the beard shave. Maybe even dyes his hair, or God forbid he should get like a plastic surgery or anything like that. That wasn't necessary. The cowboy hat kept him rolling for at least 10 years.
And we also have evidence that Darth Vader tried to buy yellow cake uranium from unwed teenage mothers.
Unwed teenage mothers, they were selling yellow cake uranium to Darth Vader. Oh no.
There's always been an appeal to this necrotizing conspiracy theory radicalism.
Okay, there's Rachel Madcow, who's just totally full of shit, and she did this whole it was like a 40-minute show, and all she did was rail away on how conspiracy people are all crazy and all racist and all Jew haters and all anti-Israel and all and violent and prone to violence, and frankly I take offense to every single one of those stereotypes. Plus, I don't even like the categorization of conspiracy theorists, because it's obvious to me that the conspiracy theorists are the morons who believe this garbage. That so because I don't believe that somebody avoids capture from the CIA, NSA, the Defense Intelligence Agency, FBI and by the way, Ayman al-Zawahiri, okay, is still out there supposedly, and he's been out there for 30 years and they've never caught him. Okay, and the reason that they don't try to catch him is, or or they don't make it sound like he's next to be caught, is because the boogeyman guy is the key, and people don't care about the other stuff. They just want to, like, oh, Osama bin Laden, he was the guy that they promoted and built up as the boogeyman, the big boogeyman. So now Rachel Madcow says necrotizing, okay, and I had to look that word up. Of course, it comes from the word necrosis, which is the death of flesh or tissue, like the necrotizing facilitus, which is the flesh-eating mold that they that you heard about in the news. So now she's relating conspiracy theory race radicalization with necrotize. So you're a flesh-eating conspiracy theorist now. And what I did was I found now I'm gonna find all these media bullshitters and including Obama himself also and politician Peter King. They all use medical terminology relevant to cancer and necrosis, okay, which is the death of flesh according to the Webster's dictionary, and so they're going to all use these medical terms just again, because you got to get big pharma's agendas in there too. So they have to and this is how clever script writers write these things into everything that you have to hear. But you want to insist with me? Oh, Matt, you're crazy. Al-Qaeda doesn't use no. You're why? Just because they said he has a cowboy hat doesn't mean they don't just yes. Okay, yes, and just because they think you're an absolute moron with necrotizing is not a word that you describe as for somebody, whatever. That's the usage is improper, but it's proper if you're a clever script writer for liars in the media who are trying to get you to believe some garbage about fake terrorists. Okay, and why would you want to make fake terrorists? That's going to be well supported in the show, and it's going to be obvious. Keep it going.
There's always been an appeal to this necrotizing conspiracy theory radicalism.
Al-Qaeda and other extremists have metastasized into regional groups that can pose significant dangers.
Okay, so we're necrotizing and we're metastasizing, and then they get this guy Peter King, who's he can't even pronounce big words because he's such a moron that he's going to say, they mutated and spread.
Al-Qaeda is in many ways stronger than it was before 9/11 because it's mutated and it's spread, and it can come at us from different directions. And Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula is probably the most deadly of all the Al-Qaeda affiliates.
There you go. So you got necrotizing, metastasizing, mutating, and spreading.
Al-Qaeda and...
There's always been an appeal to this necrotizing conspiracy theory radicalism.
Al-Qaeda and other extremists have metastasized into regional groups that can pose significant dangers.
Al-Qaeda is in many ways stronger than it was before 9/11 because it's mutated and it's spread, and it can come at us from different directions. And Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula is probably the most deadly of all the Al-Qaeda affiliates.
These Al-Qaeda types are really on steroids, thinking we're weaker and they're stronger.
We have created an economy of fear, an industry of fear, a national psychology of fear.
But the fact of the matter is, the threat briefings I get, it's real, it exists. There's a large plot brewing in the Middle East right now, which is why they have closed these embassies, and it also could directly impact the homeland.
Oh yes, and so he's like, so this guy is he was on Meet the Press also, and I don't even remember who the hell his name was. He was a congressman or a senator or something. I don't even remember. Frankly, sorry, but I don't remember even what his name is. But he's like, he's going to assure you that it's true. I'm assuring you that it exists. He's like, I'm not giving you any evidence or something substantial. I'm just going to be like, I'm telling you that I heard the threat report and the threat's true. Okay, I'm telling you, this is real. This is very real. And you've heard that many times. It's real. Terrorists are everywhere. I promise you, and you can count on me because I'm not a lying politician. No, I'm on your side. I'm telling you the truth. Like you ever heard one word of truth out of a guy like this' mouth? Ever? Just keep it going.
But the fact of the matter is, the threat briefings I get, it's real, it exists. There's a large plot brewing in the Middle East right now, which is why they have closed these embassies, and it also could directly impact the homeland.
All right,
it is a real thing.
And Lindsey Graham is like, and when it's like Al-Qaeda, they're on steroids, you know, like that fed into the again to the medical industrial complex agenda. They're like, you're on steroids, it's mutating, it's metastasizing, it's necrotizing. Let's keep it. This is you're being played like a total idiot, folks. Okay, and I'm sorry. And just keep it. This show is far from done, but you're gonna see just an abundance or a mountain of proof, evidence, tangible stuff that's going to show you that there's just absolutely none of it can be. It's just for morons, okay? And why people? And I'm sorry, but I have to admit that when I told people I'm going to do a show that Al-Qaeda doesn't exist at all, okay, and I'm going to call it Al-Qaeda for Dummies, everybody's looking at me with this face like, you didn't believe they exist. I'm like, what, you know? And you're gonna, you know, and I looked at them. I was like, if you saw what I'm going to show you, okay, if you heard what all the garbage, okay, that I aggregated for you, and you can look at me after listening to that garbage and telling me that you still think they do exist, then you're the conspiracy theory psychopath, okay, not me, okay. I'm a lucid, pragmatic thinker, okay. And I am, and anybody who's going to buy into this after all the garbage I'm going to show you, and I'm showing you, then you could go seek help yourself, because I don't need. I promise you that it's not my problem, it's yours.
We have nothing to fear but fear itself.
Okay, and so there we go. Okay. Nothing to fear yourself. That was Obama quoting JFK, but he's going to twist it into like, you know, to fear, terrorist. Keep going.
The ideas, the thoughts, and the opinions of the masses are being manipulated through fear.
And that what we see is a fantasy that's being created.
We're seeing a fantasy that's being created. Keep it going.
So where are the real terrorists? So since there are not any, to keep the people afraid, they have to go out and create them.
Osama bin Laden is their creation, and he is serving them well.
This is a creation, a fabrication, a story, a story, a cleverly contrived story that's been going on for friggin' 20-something years. Well, it's been going on for longer than that, but the whole Al-Qaeda, Osama bin Laden thing has been going on since at least before around in the early 1990s, because I'll show you clips from 1993 where they're talking about him in Oklahoma That's more to come on that. And so that's at least 20 years, folks. And we never caught any of them. We never caught Ayman al-Zawahiri. It took us 10 years to catch bin Laden, or after 9/11, because he was wearing a cowboy hat and shaved his beard. Okay, but you need to buck up $1 trillion a year minimum to out of your labor and the sweat of your fruits of your labor and your sweat to buck up to go chase somebody who doesn't exist, and what you're really doing is lining people's pockets with blood money. And you know what? And you're not saying anything about it because you're so stupid and brain dead that you're being manipulated like a moron into, and people even have the nerve to talk to me like how could I even say Al-Qaeda doesn't exist? Okay, let's keep it going.
The main element here that we have to deal with is the fact that fear is what's driving a lot of people, okay?
These new threats of weapons of mass destruction, rogue states, and international terrorism combine to deliver a catastrophe to our world.
It's going to be a catastrophe to our world. That's Tony Blair, the former Prime Minister of the UK. He's like, yeah, again, it's going to be a catastrophe. All these threats that we have.
Death to America.
Ooh, yes, death to America. Here's a little clip about Ayman al-Zawahiri, and he put out a tape just the other day. Well, maybe a couple of weeks ago now, because it took me 2 weeks to do this show. He just put out a tape talking about Egypt, and trying to twist it and then here's a clip.
There is this new audio message from Ayman al-Zawahiri. He purportedly accuses the U.S. of plotting with Egypt's military to overthrow President Mohamed Morsi to get rid of an Islamist-leaning president. And he urges Muslims to, quote, stop the crimes of America and its allies.
Now back here at home, Alex Rodriguez.
Okay, and I left that little clip in because right after they tell you that Ayman al-Zawahiri, it was put out an audio clip saying that the American government is in with the Egyptian military to overthrow Morsi, which is just a total twisted spin on exactly what's going on because Morsi is part of Western intelligence anyway. They're fucking with Egypt like to no end, and so now they're going to try to confuse TV watching morons, and then right after that they're going to be like, when Alex Rodriguez said this, is on trial for or got suspended for steroids, and that'll just so you'll just download that garbage information and then move on to what happened with Alex Rodriguez. Again, this is well, it's called Al-Qaeda for Dummies. Keep it going.
There is this new audio message from Ayman al-Zawahiri. He purportedly accuses the U.S. of plotting with Egypt's military to overthrow President Mohamed Morsi to get rid of an Islamist-leaning president. And he urges Muslims to, quote, stop the crimes of America and its allies.
Now, back here at home, Alex Rodriguez.
Back here at home, we got Alex Rodriguez suspended for steroids in New York.
This is a message to all American infidels. Prepare to die in a sea of holy fire. You will be punished for your decadent ways on the first day of Ramadan. You... wait a minute, did I just say, what did I say, Ramadan? Ramadan. Ramadan, what is that? What is yeah, maybe Dennis Rodman is going to punish you with his crazy hair. No? What's that? Right, yeah, no. Okay, all right, let's go again. Okay.
That was a family like where they had Osama bin Laden in the cave doing a tape, just to make everybody scared. And here's what Mos Def had to say about tapes.
I don't believe in that boogeyman shit. They ain't doing shit. I don't believe in that shit. Well, if somebody want to do some shit to you, they doing it. Them motherfuckers ain't talking about it, sending you tapes. I'm gonna fuck you up when I see you.
Exactly, thank you. And his own way. That was on Bill Maher, and Bill Maher's like, oh, I can't believe you're saying that, because Bill Maher's a lying jerk off too.
Although the Interior Minister is denying that Al-Qaeda is in fact active in Egypt, the suspects were found with bomb-making equipment, and they also had statements issued by Al-Qaeda in the Islamic Maghreb, as well as information on how to make bombs and rockets.
Okay, so they have statements apparently in their possession issued by Al-Qaeda in the Islamic Maghreb. So what do they have? Al-Qaeda, A-Q-I-M, Al-Qaeda in the Islamic Maghreb stationary or something? And then what do these guys fold it up and put it? It's like, oh, we got a statement here from the head office at the Islamic Maghreb to bomb stuff in Egypt, and we're going to carry that. We can carry the little paper. No, they can't even get a digital message from them, and not only that, but Ayman al-Zawahiri is able to put out the audio clips, but he's still nobody knows where they came from or how they got. He gets them out into the media without being able to be tracked back to him at all either. And of course, he's out there. He probably has a recording studio built into a cave somewhere that he's hiding that we can't find him in. There we go.
The leader of Al-Qaeda has told the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt to give up on democracy and rule by Sharia law.
Okay, so there again, that was from the British Telegraph, the UK Telegraph news outlet, and they said that al-Zawahiri is telling them to give up on democracy. Similar to what the Richard Haas said from the CFR in my Egypt show, and Fareed Zakari and all the other jerk-offs. I'm telling you, yeah, we should give up on elections and democracy, or democracy has to take slow down a little bit or we can't stick to democracy right now. So Ayman al-Zawahiri is telling them the same thing. It's not coincidental. Keep it going.
The leader of Al-Qaeda has told the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt to give up on democracy and rule by Sharia law.
Say anything they want, you see, and you'll follow them, because we are the docile masses. We're the puppet people. Oh, put it on our TV, it's true. Put it on our TV, it's true. We're the puppet people.
The leadership of Al-Qaeda is widely believed to be on the move all the time, taking advantage of massive cave networks.
They're still in the cave networks, you know. The leadership of Al-Qaeda is on the move in their massive cave networks.
I said you're going to see guys going into caves looking for looking for people that they're never going to find.
The search for Osama bin Laden, there was constant discussion about him hiding out in caves, and I think many times the American people have a perception that it's a little hole dug out of a side of a mountain.
Oh, no.
This is it. This is a fortress, yes. A complex, multi-tiered, bedrooms and offices on the top, as you can see. Secret exits on the side and on the bottom. Cut deep to avoid thermal detection, a ventilation system to allow people to breathe and to carry on. The entrance is large enough to drive trucks and even tanks, even computer systems and telephone systems. It's a very sophisticated operation.
Oh, you bet. This is serious business. And there's not one of those. There are many of those.
Okay, so there's a professional liar named Donald Rumsfeld, and or just an outright liar, and he is going to tell you that, oh yeah, and they're going to tell you like they have these giant cave networks built, sophisticated, like electronic satellite connections and stuff in the caves of Afghanistan. That's, you know, that was told to you 10 years ago at least, and then you have the guy that they name Al-Asiri, okay, because everybody in Al-Qaeda's got a name that's relevant to the next country that they want to bomb or take or move into the world government template. So it's Al-Libi, Al-Siri, Al-Yemeni, Al-Hussein, Al-Husseini. It just goes on, and then there's even variations on those names, which are the same people with different variations on their name to fit certain, I guess, different markets, I would call them, you know, because you have a European market, you have a listening, you have a American market, you have a Fox News market, you have a NBC, you know, left-wing liberal market, and so what they do is they adapt the names to fit the different markets, even though they're claiming they're all. But so everybody in Al-Qaeda, just who's at the top level of Al-Qaeda, always has coincidentally just happens to have a name that resembles the next country that they want to steal the oil from. Isn't that convenient? Keep it going. So we got massive cave networks, huh?
There was no underground bunker system, no secret tunnels. The fortress didn't exist.
Okay, so there was a BBC clip where there's a guy out there saying that they've checked that and there are no caves and bunkers and all those things like they said.
The largest intelligence apparatus in the world, with the biggest budget in the history of the world, has been looking for Osama bin Laden for years and years and years, and can't find him.
But how many Al-Qaeda have you captured?
We haven't captured any Al-Qaeda, but...
And how many have you actually managed to kill here in southeast Afghanistan?
We haven't killed any.
Okay, that was a British, looked like a NATO, he was actually wearing a NATO hat, so he was the NATO general or something, and he said, we haven't killed or captured any Al-Qaeda. Okay, that was on a BBC show as well.
Finally, bin Laden's media advisor arrives. We are allowed to take our lights and sound equipment, but not our camera. His security force worries our camera might contain a tracking device that would give away his location.
Okay, so Peter Arnett's, they took his camera crew and him, in the, and they went, and when Osama bin Laden wants to meet with you, he wouldn't meet you in a neutral area or some area away from, so he can be caught. He's like, no, come over to my place, my cave. We'll do the interview right in the cave, and, and I'll scan you for tracking devices, and then I'll be sure that you can't catch me, you find me anymore, even though I'm allowing CNN to come with a camera crew to come visit me in my cave. Are you kidding me? And I'm a conspiracy, and I'm crazy, and I'm crazy to think that Al-Qaeda doesn't exist, and you're not a moron? Please.
You lied to us about meeting one of the leaders of Al-Qaeda?
That's right.
Okay. That was from the show Homeland. She's like, you lied to us about meeting Al-Qaeda? He's like, yep, And isn't that kind of convenient as well? Again, you know, all media is working, whether it's TV shows or whether it's movies or whether it's supposedly a news show or a TV commercial even. They're all interwoven cleverly to continue this propagation of this nonsense, and you know, and so just to make sure you fucking love, you're like, America, we'll kick you, put a boot in your ass, we're gonna kill the terrorists. There are no terrorists.
You lied to us about meeting one of the leaders of Al-Qaeda?
That's right. Amidst these remote mountains of Afghanistan are the various hiding places of one of the world's most wanted men, Osama bin Laden.
We declared a jihad, a holy war, against the United States government because it is unjust, criminal, and tyrannical.
Okay, so that was great music too. Again, somebody, you know, they got a guy who they like to like make up on like a really trippy, Arabic sounding, you know, like music thing track to go with our stupid Osama bin Laden interview so that was a question posed. He was supposedly posed in the cave to Osama himself. Okay, if you were wondering, play that one again.
Amidst these remote mountains of Afghanistan are the various hiding places of one of the world's most wanted men, Osama bin Laden.
We declared a jihad, a holy war, against the United States government because it is unjust, criminal, and tyrannical.
He declared a jihad. Keep it going.
A reporter from CNN and his little camera crew got in to Osama bin Laden's secret hideout and conducted an interview.
I'm aware that there's still some who would question or even justify the offense of 9/11.
What? Can justify and question the events of 9/11? Are you kidding me? Why? Because I don't believe that Peter Arnett interviewed Osama bin Laden in his cave with the groovy Arabic music playing in the background. Oh my God!
I'm aware that there's still some who would question or even justify the offense of 9/11. But let us be clear: Al-Qaeda killed nearly 3,000 people on that day.
He is Osama bin Laden, and Impact's Peter Arnett takes us into his hideaway and into his mind with this first ever television interview.
So why do all these fools believe this charade? That a CNN reporter and his little camera crew can do what all the money and all the assets and all the eavesdropping and all the intelligence and all the satellites and all the undercover operatives in the world can never do.
The State Department links the 41-year-old bin Laden to Ramzi Youssef, alleged mastermind of the World Trade Center bombing, New York.
He's been linked to the original 1993 or whatever, was it 1997, whatever, bombing in supposedly in the World Trade Center in New York. Keep it going.
When he walks into the room and you realize this guy is 6'3" or 6'4", he never raises his voice. He doesn't pound the table or use his fist. He's not a fiery orator. He's soft-spoken. But the words he was using were extremely powerful and frightening.
Okay, just trust me. John Miller, I interviewed him too, and he's tall, and but he's soft-spoken. He doesn't pound the desk, but his words are frightening. Okay, trust me. Even though I won't let you, and he's like, and now Osama bin Laden talks like he's on NPR. He's like, yeah, man, I'm gonna do a jihad against you, buddy, dude. Here we go. And so that's the second guy who interviewed Osama bin Laden again, and we still can't find him though.
When he walks into the room and you realize this guy is 6'3" or 6'4", he never raises his voice. He doesn't pound the table or use his fist. He's not a fiery orator. He's soft-spoken. But the words he was using were extremely powerful and frightening.
A reporter from CNN and his little camera crew got in to Osama bin Laden's secret hideout and conducted an interview. If you don't believe me, tune into CNN. They're probably running it right now as I'm speaking. And if you believe it, you are one of the stupidest jerks that ever lived on the face of this earth.
This is the route that we took to meet bin Laden. We are put in a minivan with curtained windows and drive west. As night falls, we move to a four-wheel drive vehicle that makes its way up a rough mountain path past checkpoints manned by heavily armed men. We are searched and electronically scanned to ensure that we're not carrying a tracking device. About 5,000 feet up is a small hut. We are allowed about an hour and a half with bin Laden.
Okay, so we sat there, we drove in the four-wheel drive up to a 5,000 square feet spot, and we hung out and we went to met him in his little hut. There you go. It's Peter Arnett. Sure, you don't believe that? Why not?
Mr. bin Laden, you have declared a jihad against the United States. Can you tell us why?
The U.S. government has committed acts that are extremely unjust, hideous, and criminal.
Mr. bin Laden, he goes, you've declared a jihad. That's some sort of question, too. Oh, you declared a jihad. Why don't you explain that for us? Oh, yeah, I declared a jihad because you guys are criminals. Oh, yeah. That he's right about that. I mean, when you're right. Oh, yeah. This is all a bunch of... I can't believe how stupid this is and how much people believe it. Oh, here we go. Keep going. If you want to keep believing it, keep going. Keep going. I got more for you.
The U.S. government charges bin Laden with supporting terrorist activities throughout the Middle East.
The U.S. today has set a double standard, calling whoever goes against its injustice a terrorist. It wants to occupy our countries, steal our resources, impose agents on us to rule us, and then wants us to agree to all this. If we refuse to do so, it says we are terrorists.
Okay, so bin Laden's saying you guys want to occupy our countries and impose, steal our resources and put a technocratic dictator in to run our countries. Doesn't that sound familiar? Okay, and so and isn't that coincidental and clever how Osama bin Laden was right on point on that one too? You know, isn't that interesting?
AFRICOM needs to be beefed up. That's where the war is going.
Okay, and there's Warhawk Lindsey Graham saying we have to beef up AFRICOM. That's the African Command, okay, because we need to start stealing their resources. According, that's what Osama was complaining about.
Some doofus jerk-off reporter with a camera crew waltzes right into his hideout and interviews him.
Mr. bin Laden, if you had an opportunity to give a message to President Clinton, what would that message be?
Mentioning the name of Clinton provokes disgust and revulsion. The president has a heart that knows no words. A heart that kills hundreds of children definitely knows no words. Our people in Arabia will send him messages without words.
There you go. He's threatening Bill Clinton, man. Shouldn't have done that. Bill Clinton can be.
9/11 was not an inside job. It was an Osama bin Laden job with 19 people from Saudi Arabia. They murdered 3,000 Americans and other farmers, including over 200 other Muslims. And we look like idiots, folks, denying that the people who murdered our fellow citizens did it when they are continuing to murder people all around the world. So we heard from you. You go away.
Okay, so Bill Clinton says we look like idiots for what? For murdering farmers in 9/11 or whatever that means, okay? I'm not sure who looks like the idiot there, but again, Bill Clinton's out there telling you, swearing, telling you get it, fuck you if you think that 9/11 Osama bin Laden isn't out there murdering farmers and other people and whatever the fuck he said. But so we look like idiots for not believing. He's like, we look for idiots for not believing that. Because some guy questioned him about 9/11 in some speech he was giving, and he was like, and he flipped. He's like, "You go, get the fuck out of here, man! You don't think Osama bin Laden 9/11? Osama bin Laden did 9/11, and he killed a bunch of farmers in New York, and then urban farmers."
9/11 was not an inside job. It was an Osama bin Laden job with 19 people from Saudi Arabia. They murdered 3,000 Americans and other farmers, including over 200 other Muslims, and we look like idiots, folks, denying that the people who murdered our fellow citizens did it when they are continuing to murder people all around the world.
Oh, yeah.
So we heard from you. You go away.
Yeah, we're denying that they did it. That Osama, he's like, he has to tell you, repeat the story. He's like, you don't listen. We look like idiots not to know that 19 hijackers from Saudi Arabia killed farmers in New York. We look like it. Who's look like what? I look like an idiot? Okay. Oh my God, keep it going.
There's just sort of a blanket, oh, these are conspiracy theorists. And so they don't believe the government's reports, so we don't have to pay attention to them.
I was with the Royal Marines as they trooped around eastern Afghanistan. And every time they got a location for a supposed Al-Qaeda or Taliban element or base, they'd turn up and there was no one there, or there'd be a few startled shepherds. And that struck me then as being a wonderful image for the war on terror, because people are looking for something that isn't there.
Okay, we're looking for something that isn't there, or we're looking for something that we can't define, or we don't know what it is. And here's a little quick segment on how the plausible deniability is introduced in every time they bring up a word Al-Qaeda or Osama bin Laden. They're like, well, maybe it's possible, it could be. It's apparently that's what it is. They never will tell you that's what it is. Okay, there's no evidence ever. Okay, it's only like conjecture and speculative and fake contrived speculation about something that doesn't exist at all. And again, this is all just listen to the way they word it, and you'll see for yourself that there's nobody claiming that this exists. Okay, they're just saying it might, it could be. Okay, impossible. You know, it's possible. Anything's possible, man. There could be terrorists who want to kill you. You know.
John, people I've talked to said they don't really know exactly what the target is. Even
all right, they don't know exactly what the target is. Here's a guy who says, he doesn't know what a terrorist. He's a military guy on the side of the road. He's doing checkpoints in America on the side of the road. He's in the military, and he's like, I don't even know what I'm looking for.
You don't really know what a terrorist looks like, what kind of car they drive, or anything else. So it's just basically everything and everybody and anything out here.
Okay, I don't know what they look like. I don't know what type of car they drive, so it's just basically anything and everybody out here. Isn't that beautiful? There you go. Let's play that one again. We'll keep it rolling on the show.
You don't really know what a terrorist looks like, what kind of car they drive, or anything else. So it's just basically everything and everybody and anything out here.
In essence, the precautionary principle says that not having the evidence that something might be a problem is not a reason for not taking action as if it were a problem. That's a very famous triple negative phrase that effectively says that action without evidence is justified.
Right. Okay. Who needs evidence? We told you that they exist, and we're gonna spend $1 trillion a year chasing them around, even though they don't exist. And and basically we'll just pocket that $1 trillion and tell you like, oh, it was money well spent, and you should be and bend over, touch your toes, take your shoes off. Don't fly, don't go on vacation, don't and just be run around like a moron, okay? Because and then yell at me, okay? Because I'm insisting that you got to be kidding me if you believe this crap. You're like, no, Max, what are you crazy? How can you know? He was in the he was in the Mujahideen. I'm like, whatever. They're like, because some jerk off liar told you he's in the Mujahideen. Who? Bill O'Reilly? Or fucking Rachel Madcow? Or fucking, or any of these people? Or Wolf Blitzer? You believe? Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, Wolf Blitzer told me, he's like, oh, yeah, well, good. Go follow what Wolf Blitzer tells you.
Waiting for a crime to be committed or waiting for there to be evidence of the commission of a crime didn't seem to us to be an appropriate way to protect the American people.
Okay, that was John Ashcroft, who at the time was the Attorney General of the United States, and he said waiting for evidence of anything was not a way to protect the American people. It's like, we don't want to know. Well, he's like, we weren't going to wait for any evidence that it's true. We're just going to make it up and protect you better that way, whatever that's supposed to fucking mean.
Waiting for a crime to be committed or waiting for there to be evidence of the commission of a crime didn't seem to us to be an appropriate way to protect the American people.
No. We don't need evidence to protect you. We don't need the evidence of a crime to protect you from a crime. What is that? What is that? Whatever that means.
The vice president and other State Department officials who were there made clear it was very significant threat. I talked to this person in person, and
she goes, I talked to this person. That's her source now. Some guy. Okay. Whatever that's supposed to. I talked to a person who just told me this, who told me that the vice president said that. I mean, that's your source now, fucking NBC? Are you kidding me? This guy? That person?
the vice president and other State Department officials who were there made clear it was very significant threat. I talked to this person in person, and it was very grim-faced, and we could tell that it was very concerned.
Okay, so, we could tell that this person he was very concerned looking. He had a grim face on, so that means it's true, of course. Now I'll just run you a few clips of all about it could be, it might be, it may be. These are all recent news clips from talking about the terror threat that was issued in the beginning of August, and they're like, could be, might be, possibly.
Al-Qaeda could be plotting an attack.
These travel alerts come as the head of Al-Qaeda apparently is calling for attacks on American interests.
Al-Qaeda may be planning an attack against American interests.
Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula may have something very big going down very soon, and Americans could be their target.
U.S. officials say the threat could be coming from the Arabian Peninsula.
We do not know whether they mean an embassy, an airbase, an aircraft, or trains.
The police is yet to announce what evidence they have exactly linking these men to Al-Qaeda.
What am I, a schmuck on wheels?
Really? What am I, a fucking asshole? Are you kidding me? Okay, let's keep this going. I'm not sure. That was all plausible that I was like, well, could be, might be, possibly. Don't, we got to protect you against it because you never know. And it's all garbage made of like that. But it would be okay if one person said it, but not everybody has the same script saying, like, tell them maybe, could be, possibly. Everybody. There you go. What am I, a schmuck on wheels over here? Really?
What am I, a schmuck on wheels?
In essence, the precautionary principle says that not having the evidence that something might be a problem is not a reason for not taking action as if it were a problem. That's a very famous triple negative phrase that effectively says that action without evidence is justified.
It must mean there are no real terrorists. And therefore they have to create them to keep the public fearful, to keep the police state measures going, to keep selling the body scanners, to keep justifying the wars of aggression.
The only terror I've seen is the government's people on their own people, because I don't see any terrorists around.
Only terrorists he sees is the government on their own people, because I don't see any terrorists around. There we go.
The ideas, the thoughts, and the opinions of the masses are being manipulated through fear.
So after I took office, we stepped up the war against Al-Qaeda. We relentlessly targeted Al-Qaeda's leadership.
The image was front-page news in Pakistan today. But in Abbottabad, where he met his end, there was plenty of skepticism. It's all a fake. Nothing happened, said Mohammed, who's been selling newspapers here for 50 years.
Okay, so the BBC is going to tell you to your face that the guy who's been selling newspapers, of all things, for 50 years in Pakistan is going to say that it's all fake, nothing happened here, okay? And whether that's true or not, I mean, that's just to show, and Obama's like, we're targeting Al-Qaeda, we're chasing them, since I took over, like, oh, thanks, man. And then the BBC is gonna, you see how they tell you to your face that it's fake, okay? She's like, we just captured Osama bin Laden in Pakistan, and the guy who's been selling newspapers, of all things, for 50 years, saying it's all fake, nothing happened here.
The image was front-page news in Pakistan today, but in Abbottabad, where he met his end, there was plenty of skepticism. It's all a fake. Nothing happened, said Mohammed, who's been selling newspapers here for 50 years.
All right, lads, now that we're in the air, I can tell you our top secret objective.
Osama bin Laden.
But, sir, they already got bin Laden in Pakistan.
Silly Smith, silly goose. That was just something we faked to make the president look good.
Okay, so they're even kidding around about faking it also on a cartoon TV show that's about the CIA. There we go.
These are not opinions to be debated. These are facts to be dealt with.
You're not dealing with morons here.
And Obama's reassuring you, these are facts, buddy. You're not dealing with morons here.
It's a ministry of propaganda.
Oh, yes. Sure is.
Yeah, it's just one big state-sponsored network. CBS, Fox News, CNN. It's all the same. It's all government propaganda.
Qazi Mohammed Rizwanul Hassan Nafis.
Qazi Mohammed Rizwanul Hassan Nafis. But authorities say his real purpose for coming was violent jihad.
Those things all sound scary. How much money before it can feel safe again?
The target was Al-Qaeda's number 2 in command, Abu Yahya al-Libi.
His name is Abu Yahya al-Libi.
Abu Yahya.
Abu Yahya.
Abu Yahya.
Abu Yahya.
With Timothy McVeigh, in particular, in specific, a man named Hussein al-Husseini.
Ibrahim al-Asiri.
Al-Asiri, Hussein al-Husseini. Okay, so first they got Ibrahim, they call him al-Asiri, but then they got Hassan al-Asiri.
Because of the threat of al-Asiri and his al-Qaeda group, the U.S. has vastly expanded its drone operations inside Yemen.
Okay, because they got a bad boogeyman in Yemen, so we got to expand our drone operations.
He hates American ideology. He hates Western values.
Oh, okay.
Hassan al-Asiri.
Now he's Hassan al-Asiri. He used to be Ibrahim. That's like I said. That's to different marketplace. Ibrahim got a little bit of a Judeo sound to it. Ibrahim. So like that works for the Jewish people and the Northeasterners. And then Hassan al-Asiri is for the Midwestern, people who don't really. Ibrahim doesn't do them any good, so they hear Hassan. That sounds better. That sounds more like somebody they might know. That's an Arab.
Hassan al-Asiri.
Hassan al-Asiri, and then so then you have Abu Yahya al-Libi, but in the UK they call him Abu Faraj al-Libi, and I was like, why would they do that? And then I was like, oh, because Nigel Farage is the outspoken UKIP guy who's always dissing the European Union and stuff like that. So they're gonna try to associate his name with terrorists. So he's a terrorist now too, Nigel Farage. So you think I'm kidding? So you heard Abu Yahya al-Libi. Now here's Abu Faraj. It's the same guy.
Abu Faraj al-Libi.
Abu Faraj al-Libi again.
Abu Faraj al-Libi, Al-Qaeda's alleged third in command, was planning to attack Britain.
You see, he's planning to attack Britain, so he's Abu Faraj al-Libi, Al-Qaeda's third in command, and then, and you wonder why, because Nigel Farage is talks shit about the European Union, so he's about to attack Europe.
And then we have a new German proposal that says that actually what we ought to do is confiscate some of the value of people's properties in the southern Mediterranean Eurozone states. This European Union is the new communism. It is power without limits. It is creating a tide of human misery, and the sooner it is swept away, the better.
His secret notebooks revealed plans to replicate the Madrid bombings in another European city.
Okay, so now, you see, they catch one guy, he's got documents on him from the Islamic Maghreb, and then this guy's got a secret notebook that they found. His secret notebook. He's jotting down notes about his terrorist activities.
His secret notebooks revealed plans to replicate the Madrid bombings in another European city.
Okay, that's Abu Faraj al-Libi. And I guess he has two middle names. It's probably Yahya Faraj.
But we do know that much of his radicalization, officials believe, was inspired by Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula.
Oh, he was inspired by Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula.
Al-Qaeda's affiliates in the Arabian Peninsula, AQAP, the most active in plotting against our homeland.
There you go. Is Obama re-endorsing it for you?
Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula is probably the most deadly of all of the affiliates of Al-Qaeda.
Oh, thank you, jerk off Peter King. He's like, yeah, if it comes from Peter King, I'm sure it's believable too, right? Because he's very credible.
In the rugged terrain of Marib province in central Yemen is Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula's top bomb maker. Saudi and Yemeni intelligence officials released 2 photos of Hassan al-Asiri.
Because they needed a new boogeyman.
Oh, yes. So Hassan al-Asiri is a new... and he's all Asiri because they want to fuck with Syria now. So they got, that's not convenient. He's a top bomb maker.
Ibrahim al-Asiri has now emerged as the most feared face of terror for American authorities. The master bomb maker behind the efforts of Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula.
Okay, so he goes from Ibrahim back to Hassan, depending on which market you're targeting.
Because they needed a new boogeyman.
Sure did, and sure did.
U.S. authorities tell ABC News that al-Asiri's latest designs involve bombs surgically implanted in terrorists, as well as bombs hidden in pets to be carried on aircraft.
He's got an operational savvy to him that is useful for an Al-Qaeda operative.
That's well said. He's got an operational savvy that's useful for Al-Qaeda. He's got the useful Al-Qaeda operative savvy. Okay, and woo! And he makes bombs and he puts them into pets. And now they're going to tell you, you can't take your pet on the plane, or we're going to have to scan your pet also. And I bet you they're going to come out with pet scanning equipment now too. That costs $1 million each also. That they're going to have to install them in all the airports, or they're just going to tell you, sorry, you can't take your pet now. Just to make it more difficult for you to, better just not take your vacation at all.
That's gonna scare you, believe me.
If you're an ordinary American, looks pretty scary.
Al-Asiri is also credited with 2 earlier bomb-making efforts. Last year, he sent his brother as a suicide bomber to target Saudi Arabia's top counter-terrorism official, Prince Mohammed bin Nayef.
Right, he's so hardcore that he sent his brother to do a suicide bombing. That's how dark this guy is. And he surgically implanted a bomb in his brother. There you go. No, Max, I want to believe this, Max. I want to believe, go. I hate to take your terrorists away from you. I know. I've said that before on other shows. I'm like, I'm sorry, guys. I know you love your terrorists. I know you love, Al-Qaeda, blah, 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 and you love to hate and all that stuff. But I'm sorry, folks. This is for morons. Okay? Absolutely. And you know what? And apparently it's working because I'd say 99.99999% of the people believe this crap. It's unbelievable. I mean, almost nobody listens to me or believes me when I tell them that Al-Qaeda doesn't exist at all, but you're insisting upon it. I mean, we can't even get 50-50 out of this garbage. I mean, I'm telling you that it should be 99.99999% the other way if you heard what I'm showing you. But you know what though? I bet you people are still going to listen to this and believe that crap.
Oh, yeah, look who's snickering over there, mister. I can't do a suicide bombing because I'm sick. He had a note. He had a note from his doctor. He brought a note from his doctor. It's a suicide bombing. What are you... Okay, all right, here we go. This is get all serious now.
He was motivated by Al-Qaeda.
Terrorists carrying surgically implanted bombs. As one U.S. official told us, quote, these are guys who have developed the techniques to defeat our detection methods.
They developed the technique to defeat our detection methods, man. There you go. You know what? This is because they're surgically implanting bombs and wearing cowboy hats.
Of how bin Laden lived in secret for all those years. For instance, to avoid detection, he at one point shaved off his world-famous beard. He bought his compound using a fake national ID card. When venturing outside, he liked to wear a wide-brimmed cowboy hat to avoid aerial detection.
They avoid detection by surgically implanting bombs in their brother to send to and a cowboy hat and fake ID and shaving his beard. This is just genius, and you believe it? Isn't that just dandy?
These are not opinions to be debated. These are facts to be dealt with.
What am I, a schmuck on wheels?
Really? And, keep it going.
The CIA, the NSA, the FBI, the Defense Intelligence intelligence agency could not find Osama bin Laden in their wildest dreams.
Warning of possible terror attacks from Al-Qaeda and its brothers in jihad.
In Western intelligence circles, bin Laden is best known for this document, a call for jihad or holy war.
Okay, and there's another document he's well known. It's a well-known document he's well known for, calling for jihad. He documented that. He wrote that down. He said, and issued it. He was like, put that one out on the cables.
Deranged or alienated individuals, often U.S. citizens or legal residents, can do enormous damage, particularly when inspired by larger notions of violent jihad.
Okay, and then when they get Obama to tell you it, then they think, like when they want you to believe something that's like getting to be difficult to believe, they just send Obama out there to tell them, and then everybody will believe it because you're not allowed to say Obama's a lying, full of shit puppet of the New World Order, because then people are like, oh, what are you, racist or something like that, Max? Yeah, that's me.
If you're an ordinary American, looks pretty scary.
Ooh, that's scary stuff. It looks pretty scary, man.
We have the terrorists on the run. We're keeping them on the run. One by one, the terrorists are learning the meaning of American justice.
You got it. The terrorists are on the run, Bush, man. America, we'll kick your fucking ass, man. Put in your ass. America, we're kicking the terrorist ass. We're not a bunch of idiots believing some garbage about fake terrorists. Of course not.
Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula, Al-Qaeda in Iraq, al-Nusra, all of them have one thing in common. They want to drive the West out of the Mideast. If we ever take the bait and try to come home and create Fortress America, you'll have another 9/11.
Oh, yeah. You take it from a liar like Lindsey, what's his name, Graham, if we just try to protect ourselves here, they'll come and do another 9/11. So we got to go over there. That's why we got to go over there and keep chasing him over there. That's why we got to spend $1 trillion a year to not catch anybody over there. There we go.
But I think it's important to recognize that you can't have 100% security and also then have 100% privacy and zero inconvenience.
No, you can't. You can't have privacy and inconvenience and security. You can't. No. So we'll just miss that. All that means is just shut up and do what you're told.
We have a complete dossier on you. Richard Blaine, American, age 37, cannot return to his country. The reason is a little vague. We also know what you did in Paris, Mr. Blaine, and also we know why you left Paris. Don't worry, we are not going to broadcast it.
Oh, my eye's really brown.
Bogey is she's like, the Nazis are like, we have a complete dossier on you, and he looks at it, he's like, are my eyes really brown?
Officials will be citing the kind of specific intelligence of this threat as the kind of justification they need to continue the scale of intelligence gathering that Edward Snowden revealed, Jake.
Right, so, because of this threat we made up, now we have to, that's justifies more spying on your ass, okay? Because, hey, that's how you think we got this fake threat that we made up, from the intelligence that we're gathering that doesn't exist either, okay? This is all there's no evidence of no substantiation of anything. Okay, it's just garbage. Okay, and no, Max, no. How could you believe? Why wouldn't you believe that Al-Qaeda doesn't exist? How could you even say that, Max? No, how could you say it does?
It is scary. Al-Qaeda's on the rise in this part of the world, and the NSA program is proving its worth yet again.
Oh, it's proven its worth. Yeah, the spying on you is proven its worth yet again because Al-Qaeda's on the rise, according to Lindsey Graham Cracker.
Well, this intelligence gathering that we do is a critical component of counterterrorism.
That was on Obama on Jay Leno. It was like, oh, it's critical for counterterrorism. All this spying we do on you.
And to the members of the Congress who want to reform the NSA program, great. But if you want to gut it, you make us much less safe, and you're putting our nation at risk.
Right, if we don't spy on you, you're going to put us at risk, man. You know, we're doing you a favor. We're helping you guys. This is very dangerous stuff.
The cause for concern are those intercepted communications from the leadership of the Al-Qaeda affiliate in Yemen.
Oh, you see, that's how we got the threat, is because we intercepted emails. They were emailing. He was emailing like Al-Yemeni was emailing Al-Asiri and Al-Husseini. And they were like, yeah, man, I'll email. He's like, dude, we should do a fucking terror attack. And, you know, and just don't tell anybody where it is, and put your cowboy hat on when you leave the house.
But by sifting through this so-called metadata, they may identify potential leads with respect to folks who might engage in terrorism.
Oh, the old folks who might engage in terrorism. There you go. There's all kinds of folksy terrorism out there, too.
9/11 was a pretext for another war as well, the war against you. The Patriot Act, Homeland Security, the Military Tribunals Act, and other legislations are all completely and entirely designed to destroy your civil liberties and limit your ability to fight back.
All right, and you know the big thing about terrorists was 9/11, man. You know, and I know you insist on believing that too. And I'm going to tear that one apart for you. And here you go. Here's the segment. Here's a 9/11 segment on showing you how the point of this is that it certainly does tie together. In my opinion, is that the way that, you know, you see if 9/11 was not done by Al-Qaeda and other terrorists, which will prove it's obviously wasn't, okay, but then that would argue that Al-Qaeda doesn't exist again, okay, because, you know, that would show, that proves that was a totally made up bullshit stupid story, okay, and that's exactly what the government's version of 9/11 is. I put together this a little bit different angle that I usually do with 9/11, so I'm gonna play it for you now, and you know, I'm gonna try to just let these clips roll for a few here. Here we go.
We do want to make sure that after a Boston bombing, for example, we've got the phone numbers of those two brothers. Right. We want to be able to make sure, did they call anybody else? Are there networks in New York? Are there networks elsewhere that we have to roll up?
Okay, so we got the Boston bombing brothers' phone numbers. You see, that was you know, that's because of that great plan, that great thing we did with the NSA. You know, and that's why we need to spy on you to get. So we'll have your phone number if you do a fake bombing in Boston. Even though I proved to you in my Boston show, you can go check it out at maxratt.com and see that there was no bombing in Boston. That's for sure. That's obviously been proven, and they showed you with the guy in the wheelchair. He was alive, to say the least, and not bleeding, which is totally impossible with your legs blown off, okay, and even and conscious and in a wheelchair, which doesn't make any sense at all. But that's because, again, the TV watching public are a bunch of brain dead morons, and they gobble that stuff up, and they don't ask questions, and they want to believe it, maybe because they're scared or maybe for other reasons, but it's ridiculous, okay? Keep it going.
We thwarted terrorists in Buffalo, and Seattle, Portland, Detroit, North Carolina, and Tampa, Florida. We're determined to stop the enemy before he can strike our people.
First rule of politics, kiddo. Never let the truth get in the way of a good story.
Exactly. That was from Boardwalk Empire. That was Steve Buscemi.
This one network, Al-Qaeda, that's receiving so much discussion and publicity, may have activities in 50 to 60 countries, including the United States.
People who talk like that are trying to frighten you, and when a politician tries to frighten you, you can think of, what is it that he wants me to do? How am I being manipulated?
Okay, now I'm going to go on a 9/11 run where I'm not going to interrupt. I'm going to just keep playing it. So let's just roll them. Here we go.
I missed something once before. I can't let that happen again.
It was 10 years ago. Everyone missed something that day.
Everyone's not me.
9/11 was bad.
I agree with that.
God, I can't believe how easy this is.
Mrs. Griffin, what are your plans for cleaning up our environment?
9/11.
Mrs. Griffin, what about our traffic problem?
9, 11.
Armed with knives, armed with chemical, biological, nuclear weapons. Fanatics, terrorists, September 11th. September 11th, killers, September 11th. Terrorists of Al-Qaeda, terrorists, nuclear weapons, terrorists. 9/11, terrorists, evil. September 11th, September 11th. The terrorists, war and danger. September 11th, terrorism, global terrorism, terrorism, terrorists. Terrorists, 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 the terrorists. Terrorists, terrorists, terrorism. September 11th, global terrorism, terrorists. Terrorism. September 11th, world terrorism, terrorism. September 11th, global terrorism. September the 11th, terror. Weapons of mass destruction. September the 11th, terrorists. The evil terrorists, no.
Oh, wasn't that scary? Oh, I got scared, kids. Oh.
I'm just making sure we don't get hit again.
The main element here that we have to deal with is the fact that fear is what's driving a lot of people, okay?
They're content with the government's account. It is emotionally satisfying. The contrary account is very disturbing.
We've seen these images in movies, and we know that it's all artificial, and Hollywood makes it. And it's hard to put together that it's real this time.
No airplane crashed in the World Trade Center.
I was sitting outside the classroom waiting to go in, and I saw an airplane hit the tower of a TV. You know, the TV was obviously on, and I used to fly myself, and I said, well, there's one terrible pilot. And I said it must have been a horrible accident. But I was whisked off there. I didn't have much time to think about it.
Now, wait a minute. George Bush was told about the second plane while he was inside the classroom. So you just heard him describe seeing the first plane crash on television that day. But that's impossible. No one saw the first plane crash on TV on September the 11th because the videotape of it didn't surface until the next day.
Okay, and just for a quick interruption there, you know, he's caught lying outright, okay? And if you want to just brush that under the carpet as well, fine. But that's, again, that's clear evidence that they're lying about 9/11, to say the least, and keep it going.
Science, highly educated people in all areas of science have spoken on the fishiness around that whole 911 theory.
There were no planes on 9/11. There was no
this
airplane at
is this is
Shanksville.
really
There was no
dynamite
airplane at
stuff.
Pentagon. There was no airplane at the World Trade Center.
In one of the most stirring accounts, Todd Beamer, a father of two with a pregnant wife at home in New Jersey, asked the airphone operator to join him in reciting the Lord's Prayer. Then he helped.
Here's a big crock of shit coming from an accomplished and notorious liar himself. Keep it rolling.
Lead the charge to the front of the plane with the words, "Let's roll."
Shanksville is the scene of friendships forged between residents of that town and families who lost loved ones there.
Any large pieces of debris at all? No, there was nothing that you could distinguish that a plane had crashed there.
Flight 93 allegedly crashed at Shanksville. Anybody who has any background in accident investigation or any background at all can't possibly believe an airplane crash. There was no wreckage. It just simply could not happen.
Mighty towers crumbled. Black smoke billowed up from the Pentagon. Airplane wreckage smoldered on a Pennsylvania field.
And let me just play this. So Obama's like going on about smoldering wreckage in a Shanksville field, but there is no wreckage according to these guys.
Any large pieces of debris at all? No, there was nothing that you could distinguish that a plane had crashed there.
Flight 93 allegedly.
And that was the first guy on the scene, a photographer on Fox News, and he said, "There's nothing that I could see that would say to distinguish that a plane crashed here." Okay, pretty hard to miss a big giant jumbo jet. Okay,
He crashed at Shanksville. Anybody who has any background in accident investigation or any background at all can't possibly believe an airplane crash. There was no wreckage. It just simply could not happen.
Mighty towers crumbled. Black smoke billowed up from the Pentagon. Airplane wreckage smoldered on a Pennsylvania field.
From my close-up inspection, there's no evidence of a plane having crashed anywhere near the Pentagon.
Okay, from his close-up inspection, there's no evidence of a plane having crashed anywhere near the Pentagon. That's Jamie McIntyre from CNN. Keep it going.
There's a lot of people that realize that this couldn't have possibly happened. There is no an airplane like a Boeing 757 flying into the Pentagon. No, that didn't happen.
Clouds of fire and metal and ash descended upon a sun-filled morning.
Mr. Sun-filled morning himself. What kind of weird poetic script writing was that? There's fire and ash and sun-filled morning, man.
Clouds of fire and metal and ash descended upon a sun-filled morning.
I flew the two actual aircraft which were involved in 9/11, the flight number 175 and flight 93, the 757 that allegedly went down at Shanksville, and flight 175 is the aircraft that's alleged to have hit the South Tower. I don't believe it's possible for, like I said, for a terrorist, a so-called terrorist, to train on a 172, then jump in the cockpit of a 757, 767 glass cockpit, and vertical navigate the aircraft, lateral navigate the aircraft, and fly the airplane at speeds exceeding its design limit speed by well over 100 knots, make high-speed, high-bank turns, pulling probably 5, 6, 7 Gs, and the aircraft would literally fall out of the sky. I couldn't do it, and I'm absolutely positive they couldn't do it.
It's impossible. At the height of my career, as proficient I was in every kind of airplane, there's no way I could have done that. I mean, it's just too complex. First of all, the airplane can't fly above 560 miles an hour. It can't fly more than 360, which is its velocity max operating. Maybe could fly maybe 30, 40 miles an hour faster than that.
Reportedly, 19 Al-Qaeda terrorists hijacked 4 commercial passenger jet airliners and crashed into the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center in New York City, killing everyone on board and many others working in the buildings.
The official story is a lie.
First rule of politics, kiddo. Never let the truth get in the way of a good story.
I am absolutely appalled at how much people in this country do not think. We are given to understand that an Arabic guy out there up in the mountains financed the most elaborate attack on this country. And when I think about how many Americans were killed in New York City, and believing as I do that this thing was a setup job, this is a textbook operation that Nazis used, and they've used it over and over again. America has been suckered in one more time.
I don't believe that was Bin Laden today. I don't believe it was never him. I think it's some dude just standing. I can't even believe. I'm sorry. I'm from the projects. I know danger. I don't feel no danger from that shit. I just motherfuckers.
But you don't think Bin Laden knocked down the World Trade Center?
Absolutely not.
Come on.
I don't.
But the fact is, there was no wreckage from any airplane in the World Trade Center. And by no wreckage, I mean that nothing was found of any size anywhere around.
If you watch it, it doesn't look like buildings falling down. It looks like buildings blowing up.
A lot of my information was taken from aerodynamics for naval aviators, and I explain why an airplane cannot fly 500 miles at 1,000 feet. It has to do with drag, and it has to do with power, and it has to do with the fact that they use turbofans. It just cannot happen. So anyway, the governments and NIST contention that that they flew 500 miles an hour, it didn't happen. It couldn't happen.
What happened to the World Trade Center buildings today, towers today, is exactly what happened in Oklahoma City. It wasn't that truck parked out on the street that brought that building down. Right. You can't bring down a building like that by flying a plane into the top quarter of it, or blowing up a truck full of fertilizer in the street. You have to have charges placed upon the main structural building, main structural members of the building, in order to bring something like that down.
What actually caused it to collapse? And they came up with a reason that, the jet fuel, and it was just so far ridiculous.
Jet fuel and office fires cannot melt iron or steel. They don't get even half as hot as that. And So something else was there.
The Twin Towers suffered total destruction in 10 to 14 seconds in near free-fall accelerations.
It might happen. Yeah, and monkeys might fly out of my butt.
And, okay, so there we go. That was a nice little stretch of clips I played for you. What I want to point out is that the news report was at the and that's been, you can check it for yourself, but those towers came down between 10 and 14 seconds. Some people say less than 11 seconds. Just to do some quick mathematics for you, I've done these math before for you, but the buildings were, each tower was 200 by 200 feet wide. That's pretty much a square. 200 times 200 is 40,000. That means it's 40,000 square feet per floor. Okay. They're 110 stories each. Okay. That's 4.4 million square feet in that 110-story building. Okay. 11 seconds would mean that it came down and disintegrated into dust, not just a part of the building. I'm talking about every single thing inside and outside of the building, including the steel concrete frame, which was massive to say the least, but also every single desk, pencil, body part, God forbid, all those things. Every single thing in the building was disintegrating to dust 10 stories per second. Okay, that means 40,000 square feet per tenth of a second. Okay, which to me is instant. Okay, so whatever that was, it certainly was not a collapse due to fires. Okay, and that certainly couldn't have been done by an airplane. Again, 40,000 square feet per tenth of a second, or 400,000 square feet per second. I don't know where you're sitting right now, but I'm sitting in a building in New York City, and it's not the smallest building you'll ever see, but it's I would say my building is more or less, it's a 6-story, less than 50, more or less 50 by 100. Let's call it less than 20,000 square feet. So that means that that my building would have disintegrated into dust. The entire building, top to bottom, every single bit in it, including these steel beams that hold that frame that holds this building up, that would have been gone in 5/100ths of 1 second, according to how fast those buildings came down. If you think that was a fire, you're absolutely out of your rotten picking mind, and let's just keep it rolling from there.
The only way you can have all support disappearing at the same time is with some form of explosive.
There are so many different factors that point to the fact that those were not simple collapses due to fires. They were something else. And
what they did with controlled demolitions, the first part was to make what we call the Wile E. Coyote cutout in the face, like an airplane crashed in it, which is absolutely insanely ridiculous, but a lot of people believed it.
How could 200,000 tons of steel drop to the ground in under 11 seconds because of a fire?
These buildings could not have fallen for the reasons given, that they had to have fallen for some other reasons.
Airplanes flying into the top of those buildings did not bring those buildings down, and if you believe they did, you know, there's air between your ears, and there shouldn't be. There should be some brain material in there.
There should be some brain material in there. Get it? Okay? Just and if airplanes didn't bring them down, that means frankly there were no airplanes, okay? And because you wouldn't need to cross your fingers and hope some Arab suicidal maniac could fly a plane faster than anybody's ever flown a plane before and do maneuvers that nobody's ever done before, and top pilots in the world will tell you they can't do it either, not even close. He said, John Lear from Lear Jet said it's impossible, and the other guy was Russ Wittenberg, who's a 35-year commercial airline pilot and Air Force fighter jet pilot, who said, I can't do it, neither can they. And now and so planes did not bring those buildings down, and if you believe that they did, then you have air between your ears. And Bill Cooper said there shouldn't be. He said there should be some brain material in there. Okay, and then of course they found the passport.
The hijacker's passport was found blocks from the World Trade Center crash site, if you can believe that.
Okay, that's he said. Even the news guy goes, if you can believe that. Okay, we just got it, buddy. Keep it going.
The hijacker's passport was found blocks from the World Trade Center crash site, if you can believe that.
And I think that truth often is plays second fiddle just to people's emotions. They make decisions emotionally, and these decisions are not informed by evidence. They're not affected by evidence, and you can't use evidence effectively to sway decisions that are made emotionally.
It's true, and people are emotional about things. You can't, like, just to give you a quick example, like if you're fighting with your girlfriend or your significant other, if you will, and they're crying and screaming, and you're not going to show them evidence of anything. They're not going to listen to that. They're reacting in an emotional fashion. There's nothing to do with evidence. He said evidence doesn't even apply when you're getting an emotional reaction. For whatever that's worth. Here, I'll play that one again for you.
And I think that truth often is plays second fiddle just to people's emotions. They make decisions emotionally, and these decisions are not informed by evidence. They're not affected by evidence, and you can't use evidence effectively to sway decisions that are made emotionally.
Okay, here's some raw footage from one of those films that you'll see on YouTube where they were filming the supposed plane crashes, and I made a whole bunch of these, but I just took one of them that was one of my favorites. But this is the reaction of the people supposedly filming the plane crashes, which didn't happen. Okay, so this is a fake film footage. But anyway, these are all actors doing this, but just see how stupid this sounds, just for the fun of it.
What's this other jet doing? What's this other jet doing? Holy fuck!
Oh my god! Oh my god! Jesus fucking Christ! Oh no! Oh my god!
That was supposedly like in their that's how they reacted in their apartment that day. Here you go.
Al-Qaeda chose to ruthlessly murder these people, claimed credit for the attack, and even now states their determination to kill on a massive scale.
Okay, so Obama's like, they took credit for it, man. Like, he shouldn't tell you, like, just in case, like this, they claim credit for it. So don't tell me it's not my, don't tell me that that they didn't do it. They claim credit for it. Well, yeah, because they're made up too, and you made them up, or your puppet masters made them up, which is so obvious. It couldn't be more obvious. But again, people just want to act emotionally, and just can't, and it's disturbing to handle the truth, I guess. But you don't want to hear the truth. But you're getting it on the Max Ratt Deconstruction Zone. Keep it going.
Do we actually live in a scientific era? Do we actually live in a time where we believe in evidence and analysis? Or do we live in some magical era where buildings just fall down somehow?
But the buildings came down, folks. I mean, collapsed upon themselves all the way to the ground. A jet plane crashing into the top quarter of those buildings can't do that. It's absolutely impossible, just like the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building in Oklahoma City. That fertilizer truck parked on the street did not bring that building down.
There you go. And now I'm going to show you where in 1993, when they did the Oklahoma City bombing, which was again a staged, maybe murderous, but it's still a staged event done by the same lying world government criminals who are trying to scare people and control people with this fake terrorism or real terrorism perpetrated by people and then blamed on other people, all to satisfy their nefarious agendas. So Bill O'Reilly, I think he was might have been with CNN back then or something like that, but he's going to talk to you about how Osama bin Laden was connected to Timothy McVeigh and Terry Nichols, and people are like, oh yeah, right, Max. I'm like, all right, you don't believe me? You can listen to him yourself, okay? And they go on and on about and I'll make the connection there with how stupid that is, okay? So now Timothy McVeigh and Terry Nichols were also working with Osama bin Laden. That was 1993, folks. That was 20 years ago. Here we go.
And that information implicated a Middle Eastern terrorist cell funded by Osama bin Laden as assisting Timothy McVeigh and Terry Nichols in executing the bombing of the Alfred P. Murrah building.
There you go. That's what they're telling you on CNN back then.
Based on the damage pattern to the building, what the government says is impossible.
A witness in the Philippines, a member of Abu Sayyaf, a terrorist group that has been identified as being funded by Osama bin Laden, identified Terry Nichols in the presence of Ramzi Youssef, the convicted mastermind of the World Trade Center bombing, and several of his co-conspirators in that bombing, and that they were discussing bombing activities prior to the Oklahoma City bombing.
Right, so now Terry Nichols, the Michigan militiaman or something that was involved, supposedly, who's the fake boogeyman they made up for the Oklahoma City scam or setup that they did. He was in the Philippines with Ramzi Youssef, supposed fake bomber of the World Trade Tower originally in like 1993 or whatever it was, and he's so Terry Nichols was meeting with him, and then this woman who's got the scoop on it, of course, who I could go. I don't have the time to go into it, but her name is supposedly Jana Davis, and I will promise you that if you ever watch Max Kaiser's the Kaiser Report show, which is a financial show, if you watch it, you can look up this woman whose name is on his show. Her name is he interviews her. She's a guest on his show. Her name is Terry Boole. Of course, right? Terry Boole, and that's her fake name on that show. So that's the same girl as this one who's talking about Jane, whose supposedly name is Jana Davis in the old days. So that was 20 years ago. So she was much younger, but she's been doing this. She's been at this game for a while now. Okay, but rather to distract you with that, so Terry Nichols met with Ramzi Youssef in the Philippines, of all places, and this gets better than that, so stay tuned. Here we go.
She's what you call a disinformation agent, just spouting bullshit everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Do we know that Terry Nichols was indeed in the Philippines?
Yes, he was. He had a mail-order bride, and I did an undercover hidden camera interview. His cover story was having a mail-order bride.
Okay, so Terry Nichols' cover story for going to the Philippines to meet with Ramzi Youssef and Osama bin Laden was that he had a mail-order bride and I thought if you get a mail-order bride, they come to you. I don't know, you didn't realize that you have to go back and forth to them. That sounds like it's a mail order in reverse, but that's for morons too, of course, because mostly this is contrived for morons, okay? Because most people just want to believe what they want to believe and want to be told to what to believe, and they're not thinking. So like, oh yeah, here's a mail order bride. He was going back to the Philippines to meet with Osama bin Laden. And what does that have to do with mail ordering a bride from the Philippines here or any place? Whatever. I don't know where that comes from, but that's okay. That's just put in some sort of social-ish tie, that people love to. People don't want to hear about technical stuff about terrorism and stuff. About how buildings can't come down in 11 seconds, from a fire or anything like that. So you got to stick in some juicy stuff about sex or mail order brides or gay or straight or gay marriage or abortion, something to keep the people interested. That's all you got to do. And so to mail order bride. Here we go.
Do we know that Terry Nichols was indeed in the Philippines?
And of course, Mr. Credibility himself, Bill O'Reilly, is he wouldn't steer you wrong.
Philippines?
Yes, he was. He had a mail order bride, and I did an undercover hidden camera interview. His cover story was having a mail order bride.
Now, how stupid can you be?
The limits of stupidity they're unlimited.
Who is behind, then, the bombing, in your opinion? Not McVeigh and Nichols?
It really is a foreign conspiracy, mastermind, and funded by Osama bin Laden, according to my intelligence sources.
Okay, according to her intelligence sources, the Oklahoma City bombing was funded and masterminded by Osama bin Laden. Okay, there you go, folks. And he masterminded the Oklahoma City bombing. Then we didn't catch up to him until CNN interviewed him before 9/11, and then John Miller also interviewed him. Peter Arnett interviewed him, and John Miller, and then they interviewed his bodyguards and other people that know him too. And nobody could still find him, so we've still been looking for him at least 20 years. Okay, it's not 10 years; it's been 20 years, and then we found him in Pakistan, but the guy in Pakistan says that's fake and nobody found them here, even though whether that's true or not also. And then we wanted to give him a proper Muslim burial at sea, so we tossed him out the window of the helicopter. And then but somebody shot down the helicopter. I'm not sure if that was before or after they threw him out the window into the ocean. But and then you know what? And then a monkey just flew out of my butt. Did you see that? Holy shit! There you go.
Homegrown extremists. This is the future of terrorism.
Ooh, and then Obama's like, you see, that's what you see, and that then so they're gonna do a fake or not a fake, but a setup stupid story about a bombing that actually happened in Oklahoma, but all of it, the whole story is a lie, and then Obama's gonna be like, well, that's why we have to go get homegrown terrorists, because that's the future of terrorism. You see, it's back to you now, okay? No more, the future of terrorism. I don't know why, because like it used to be, it was only Muslims, and which is lie too, and now it's you. How we got back to you on me? I don't know. I don't know.
Homegrown extremists. This is the future of terrorism.
You found out that Nichols met with terrorists in the Philippines, terrorists associated with Osama bin Laden, and you found out that the conspiracy was funded by bin Laden.
Oh yeah, and that's legitimate. Then Bill O'Reilly has somebody on his show, some woman who's now named Terry Boole. This is out of control, but keep it going.
And supposedly, we're not the only nation searching for Osama bin Laden. So the vast economic resources, the vast technological resources, the vast personnel resources, the vast networks and intricate web spun over all these years by the CIA, the FBI, and the NSA can't find Osama bin Laden, but CNN can? Bullshit. Timothy McVeigh and Terry Nichols could? Bullshit. So many people in this country have their heads so far up their ass, I doubt very seriously if they will manage to extricate it before they suffocate.
Now make no mistake, our nation is still threatened by terrorists. But we have to recognize that the threat has shifted and evolved from the one that came to our shores on 9/11.
Yep, it's you now. Yeah, you see, you're now you're the terrorist, folks, you see. And you know how that happens, why it shifted, I don't know, just you're the terrorist now. You know what, because we're Americans are the extremists now, the homegrown extremists. You see, this is out of control and crazy, and you're like, no, Max, this all exists. No, you must be a terrorist then. Yeah, okay, whatever.
Al-Qaeda, this core Al-Qaeda versus non-Al-Qaeda, Al-Qaeda otherwhere, distinction without a difference. It's all Al-Qaeda.
It's all Al-Qaeda. You're an Al-Qaeda, I'm an Al-Qaeda, we're all Al-Qaeda. All Al-Qaeda, all together now. It's like the Beatles song. It's all Al-Qaeda now, all Al-Qaeda now.
So I think it's very easy to keep something secret. Most people, all they know about it is they saw on television the buildings, the two towers. Most people don't even know about the third building yet. They saw the two towers, and the government told them Al-Qaeda did it, and that's the end of the story.
There you go. It's a wrap. That's the end of the story. And, okay, so I'm coming down the back stretch of the old Max Ratt Deconstruction Zone, and this show will be called Al-Qaeda for Dummies. And let me just bring it down the stretch and bring it home. And I think I'm pleased with the way this show's laid out, and let's keep it going. Do this thing.
We have figured it out. Go back to bed, America. Your government has figured out how it all transpired. Go back to bed, America. Your government is in control again.
Yep, go back to bed. We figured this out.
These nefarious conspiracies about government plots to kill and conspire and lie about it and cover up the real truth. I mean, this stuff is as ridiculous as it has ever been.
Well, I'm not sure what she thinks that the conspiracy theories are ridiculous, and I'm saying that no, you're ridiculous as it's ever been. She is ridiculous. These people, these news people and these stories are as ridiculous as it has ever been. Yes, you are right about that. And this person, Rachel Maddow, should be. I'll tell you what, if everybody is brought to justice on these things, I think she should be thrown in jail with them.
Let us never tolerate outrageous conspiracy theories concerning the attacks of September the 11th, malicious lies that attempt to shift the blame away from the terrorists themselves, away from the guilty.
Right, isn't that well worded? He says we shouldn't tolerate people who are telling lies to shift the blame away from the real terrorists, which is them. You see, yes, yeah, he's telling me I'm a liar for shifting the blame to him, not to away from him. And you know, you can be the judge of that yourself, but who you think is who. I mean, if you think George Bush has any interest at all in telling you the truth, you are deeply, deeply mistaken.
He was intrigued with far-flung conspiracies, they said. He subscribed to newspapers and journals that doubted the Holocaust and described the attacks of 9/11 and Oklahoma City and the Newtown School as plots by unseen elites and by the U.S. and Israeli governments.
Okay, so there you go. Where Rachel Maddow is going to tell you that that and frankly, I fit all those categories because I know that 9/11's an inside job hoax, and I know that Boston Sandy Hook shootings didn't happen at all. That's a lie. And then she's going to say, well, that means you're a Holocaust denier, and I take offense to that because I'm a Jew. I was raised by Jewish people who had the Holocaust, who had concentration camp tattoos on their arms, and I'm not saying just one or two. I'm saying I knew dozens of people like that. They're all my relatives. Many of my relatives were in Nazi Germany at the time, or in Eastern Europe at the time. So I take offense to that she's and so now she's going to make it sound like I'm anti-Israeli or anti-Jewish or a conspiracy or a violent extremist, and I'm not any of those things. In fact, I'm a well-educated, intelligent person who loves my my heritage and my country, and I think she is indicating to you who the real scum terrorists are. Period. Okay, and I take offense to that deeply. Period.
She's what you call a disinformation agent, just spouting bullshit everywhere.
Okay, so now I'm going to get into a short clip of a segment about how they try to mix racism and religion involved in these things, and try to make it sound like everybody who doesn't believe 9/11 or the garbage story that 9/11 is anti-Israeli or something like that, and that's all just because and that that works on people, because I got friends of mine who think that I'm anti-Israeli now because of that. whatever that's supposed to mean when I'm not. Okay, and I'm the furthest thing from that. So. But I am also the furthest thing about somebody who thinks Muslims are evil, and I'll tell you, I will admit that there was a time where I bought into some of this garbage before I awakened, and I will admit that I am guilty of maybe of having some sort of a displaced anger towards Muslims, which I've apologized for, and I would again, and I realize that there is no evidence or indication that there are any Muslim terrorists either. At all.
When this guy delivers his statements attacking the U.S. presence or his call for jihad, he is justifying these actions in very explicit Quranic Islamic terms
Yeah, explicit Quranic terms. I don't even know if Quranic is a word. I doubt it. And what's an explicit? He's so violent jihad is a Quranic term? No, that's not true either.
The division of Democrat, Republican, Muslim, Christian, Autobot, Decepticon.
I'm just talking about the
blood, black, white. It's all bullshit, because the bottom line is that Islam is not the threat. It's not a problem.
Not a threat and not a problem. That's the truth.
But what about the terrorists? That's right. Terrorists. We have intelligence that suggests that Hitler is plotting with the Legion of Doom to assassinate Jesus.
There you go. They're going to try to stoke all your hate and fears and mix them all together in some garbage like that.
You know it's the Jews who are behind it.
No, we don't know it's the Jews behind it, and I've never said that, and neither should you. George Bush is certainly not a Jew, but he's a part of it.
Right, he works for them. Yeah, they put him in office.
No, it's not that he works for them. You don't understand the structure of the organization that is actually bringing apart world government.
There you go, bringing about world government.
It seems to be kind of a 9/11 truther thing, all about how secretly it's Israeli lobbyists who control the U.S. government, and it was the U.S. government, or maybe it was Israel, that really did the Boston bombings.
Okay, nobody did a bombing in Boston because there was no bombing in Boston, and then so she's going to try to tie in 9/11 truthers with anti-Israeli people or something like that. Which again, I am absolutely 100%, million% sure that 9/11 was not done by Arab Muslim terrorists, and I am not anti-Israel, and I am not blaming on Israel either. Okay, that's all from morons, but you know what though? I got Jewish people who think believe her. Okay, because they're out of it, and they're not paying attention, and they're brain dead.
It seems to be kind of a 9/11 truther thing, all about how secretly it's Israeli lobbyists who control the U.S. government, and it was the U.S. government, or maybe it was Israel, that really did the Boston bombings.
That's the way the ruling class operates in any society. They try to divide the rest of the people. They keep the lower and the middle classes fighting with each other so that they, the rich, can run off with all the fucking money. Fairly simple thing, happens to work.
Happens to work.
Be still and know that I am God. Come behold the works of the Lord, who has made desolations in the earth.
And I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to poison and destroy my brothers. And you will know my name is the Lord when I lay my vengeance upon thee.
One of those who he wounded was the first responding Oak Creek police officer who he shot 12 times. Lieutenant Brian Murphy got shot 12 times and he lived. When other officers responded to the scene, Lieutenant Murphy refused to let those other officers help him and told them to go help the other people who had been shot.
Oh yeah. that was Miss Truth Teller over there herself. Yeah, she's not misinforming you at all.
It might happen. Yeah, and monkeys might fly out of my butt.
Right, she got 12 times and lived, and then not only did he live, but he said, I don't need any help right now. I got shot 12 times. Like, go help everybody else because I'm a hero. And here's some more garbage from more news whores. Okay, this is that guy Cenk from he's also a NBC guy.
Now, apparently he was in Pakistan, of course, for many, many years, and he had up to 4 kids after 9/11. So, wow, he was really in hiding, except he was pimping all over Pakistan.
Okay, Osama bin Laden pimping all over Pakistan. He had 4 kids since 9/11. Are you kidding me? Whatever. Whatever. Yeah. Oh, shit. The little monkey just flew out of my butt.
I think it's great how our hate for other people brings us together. I love you guys.
Yeah, isn't that great?
Interesting interview with an ex-girlfriend of his who said that the man she met and dated in 2006 had transformed from a pot-smoking party boy to an anti-American Islamist jihadi, essentially. That is how she described him.
Okay, so the Boston bomber, fake made-up bomber Zarnev used to be a pot-smoking party boy, and then he transformed into a violent murdering jihadi. Yeah, isn't that how it always goes? And now, here I'm going to show you 2 different clips where one is from a TV show and one's the actual truth. The actual which is on the news, okay? And it's amazing how they're mixing. So Homeland is using stuff that's in the news, or vice versa, frankly, because the news some of the news came out after Homeland shows came out. So they're basically using Homeland to precondition you for what the fake terror plots that they do, or like for instance the Boston bombing. they will precondition you to accept that those are the ideas that they're going to give you as to how the Boston bombing went down by using a popular TV show to do it. And look how similar the stories are. One from a TV show and one from the news.
Meet Eileen Margaret Morgan, 28 years old, brown hair, sometimes dyed blondish, blue eyes, 5'5", 110 pounds.
Somehow she made the journey from Connecticut schoolgirl to terrorist girlfriend involved in a plot against America.
Okay, that was Homeland, where they have this girl who's marries a Muslim Saudi guy, and then she becomes a radicalized terrorist, and that was in Homeland, the TV show. And now why don't we listen to the news clip where Sarnev's girlfriend or wife was a lot of similarities to this Homeland girl, huh?
Catherine Russell. I mean, she grew up in Rhode Island, the Christian daughter of an emergency room doctor and a nurse, sort of the epitome of the all-American girl before she met Tsarnaev. In fact, people who knew her said that this bright-eyed girl with a passion for learning and travel had really radically transformed since meeting Tsarnaev. She ended up becoming a college dropout. She married him, converted to Islam, and stayed at home and took care of the children.
Okay, she was a bright-eyed, little passion for learning Christian, and then she met Tsarnaev, and she turned into a radicalized Muslim, taking care of their kids all day.
Meet Eileen Margaret Morgan, 28 years old, brown hair, sometimes dyed blondish, blue eyes, 5'5", 110 pounds.
Somehow she made the journey from Connecticut schoolgirl to terrorist girlfriend involved in a plot against America.
Unbelievable.
Catherine Russell. I mean, she grew up in Rhode Island, the Christian daughter of an emergency room doctor and a nurse, sort of the epitome of the all-American girl before she met Tsarnaev. In fact, people who knew her said that this bright-eyed girl with a passion for learning and travel had really radically transformed since meeting Tsarnaev. She ended up becoming a college dropout. She married him, converted to Islam, and stayed at home and took care of the children.
Okay. She's a daughter of an emergency room doctor. Is that some sort of is that a type of specialist, an emergency room doctor? Again, you gotta watch these people, watch what they say, okay? But, anyway, so that's how they, how life imitates art, if you will, rather than the art imitating life, axiom that we've heard before. And now, so now we're going to talk about now. So now in Homeland, there's a guy who's the star of the show, who is supposedly a prisoner of war in Syria, if you will. And of course, and now they're going to have John McCain go to Syria, and he's the prisoner of war from the Vietnam era, right? And, you know, if you believe that garbage too, and he's going to, they will both meet. And one guy was held in 1 mile off the border of Iraq, and the other guy, and then McCain goes to Syria 1 mile off the border, 1 kilometer off the border. It's very similar how they're like, you know, they're both prisoners of war. Have a listen.
I was taken prisoner by forces loyal to Saddam Hussein. Those forces then sold me to an Al-Qaeda commander, Abu Nazir, who was operating a terrorist cell from across the Syrian border, where I was held captive for more than 8 years.
Nick, what do we know about Senator McCain's trip to Syria?
It seems to have been reasonably brief, crossing over from the Turkish southern city of Kilish, heading, it seems, about a kilometre inside Syria through the Bab al-Salama crossing there. I've been through that myself. One of them.
Been to that himself. So, yeah, so again, there's your life imitating art. Let's just keep it going. We're coming down the back stretch of this show. Al-Qaeda for Dummies. Keep it going.
You're not dealing with morons here.
Oh, no, absolutely not. No morons in this show.
What am I, a schmuck on wheels? Maury.
Exactly, and no morons here, man. That's for sure.
Let's start putting everybody through facial recognition, cross-referencing with INS, DMV, every database we've got.
Okay, and here you go. Here's your police state now. This is justification again. Like, let's put everything, you know, like we got to check everybody now and put them through facial recognition. Keep it going.
We have here at home the rise of a domestic police state.
You're telling me the fucking CIA thinks I'm working for Al-Qaeda?
I think you're working for Al-Qaeda.
Yes, you're living in a police state. Your government is evil.
And congratulate you on living in the land of freedom. Here you go, America. You are free to do as we tell you. You are free to do as we tell you.
What a shame. What a crying shame. How in the world could this country of all nations breed such a dumbed down, unthinking, illiterate, uneducated, stupid, ignorant population?
The only terror I've seen is the government's people on their own people, because I don't see any terrorists around.
You'll excuse me, gentlemen. Your business is politics. Mine is running a saloon. Good evening, Mr. Blaine.
It might happen. Yeah, and monkeys might fly out of my butt.
And these manufactured, fabricated acts of terrorism are used in a propagandistic way to justify the wars against terrorist countries. And, of course, also, they're being used to create a police state. And everybody's rights are disappearing. We have to, if you want to fly, you have to go through a porno scanner or else sexual groping. All of this is an absurdity.
All of us make a decision that we go through a whole bunch of security at airports, which when we were growing up, that wasn't the case, right? You ran up to the gate.
Exactly.
You know, 5 minutes to get off the plane, you're running on.
Right. Been there.
And you know, it's been a while since I went through commercial flying, but I gather the experience is not the same anymore, right?
It's gotten worse.
Okay, right. And so that's a trade-off we make.
Fabricated acts of terror serve all of those purposes. And, of course, the FBI and the Homeland Security have to justify their existence and their large budgets. They're not any real terrorist cases.
For make no mistake.
All right, so this is the end of the show, and let's just do a quick summary of what's going on. All this terrorism is a way to, is a very nefarious agendas at work here. I think it made it pretty clear. I don't even feel like going into it. The summary is going to be quick. There is no such thing as Al-Qaeda. That's made up. Okay, it's fake. It's to propagate all these different things, to move you into a police state, to deflect criticism from wars of aggression that are outright war crimes in any world that you want to live in. And it's just used as justification for all these different totalitarian moves by people who want to bring you into totalitarian dictatorship. They're doing it. And when I do shows about economics, you'll see the correlation where this is a full spectrum dominance situation where they're going to try to bankrupt you, steal your money, steal your bank account, lock you down, move you into a police state so you can't do anything about it. You have no ability to fight back, and at the same time, and manipulate you through fear and violence and bankruptcy, and that's what's going on here. I think I made my point on this show. I'm not going to go too deeply into it. Thanks for coming aboard the Max Ratt Deconstruction Zone. The show is called Al-Qaeda for Dummies. If you listen to this whole show and you can't be sure what I'm telling you is the case, then God bless you and good luck to you. But this is not gonna work out well for anybody who follows along those lines, because you're being manipulated into for a reason, into something for a reason. Nonviolent resistance is the way to fight back on these things. There is no way to getting duped into some reckless, violent confrontation with people who make their living on that type of thing is not going to work. But refusing to allow this machine to go forward because they need the people to run the machines, to do the paperwork, to do the chores of the state in order to get and to pay your taxes in order to keep this thing alive. That's the way you do that, is say no, if I'm not going to be free and I'm not going to and have the right to live happily and free, then you aren't either. Okay, and that's the only way it's going to work. Here's President Price again talking about nonviolence doesn't work. Okay, listen, and of course he's going to tell you that because he wants you. He's going to tell you nonviolence doesn't work with these people, with this thing, which is just psycho also. But here you go.
For make no mistake, evil does exist in the world. A nonviolent movement could not have halted Hitler's armies. Negotiations cannot convince Al-Qaeda's leaders to lay down their arms. To say that force may sometimes be necessary is not a call to cynicism, it is a recognition of history.
Okay, and there you go right there. That was in his Nobel Peace Prize speech once again, where he's going to say nonviolence doesn't work, okay? Which I'm telling you that means it does, obviously, and that's the only thing that it doesn't work for them. That's the only thing that they don't know how to control is nonviolent resistance. That's why Obama, who's the messenger and the puppet for this scum, is going to tell you that, and that means that that he's giving you the answer right there. Nonviolence doesn't work according to him. That means it does, and it will.
For make no mistake, evil does exist in the world. A nonviolent movement could not have halted Hitler's armies. Negotiations cannot convince Al-Qaeda's leaders to lay down their arms. To say that force may sometimes be necessary is not a call to cynicism, it is a recognition of history.
I believe that with all the dislocations we now experience, there also exists an extraordinary opportunity to form for the first time in history a truly global society carried by the principle of interdependence. And if we act wisely and with vision, I think we can look back to all this turmoil as the birth pangs of a more creative and better system.
Okay, and there's lying criminal scumbag Henry Kissinger telling you that he believes this is the birth of the world government and that it's a better system. Again, he's that's Obama's handler, if you will, and or mentor or both. And there you have it. Welcome. Thanks for coming aboard the Max Ratt Deconstruction Zone. I'm Max Ratt. I'm over and out. Thanks for coming aboard. That's a show. That's a wrap. Thanks for coming.
Happiness. We're gonna spread freedom. Obama's gonna change it. Obama's gonna lead 'em. We're gonna change it and rearrange it. We're gonna change the world.
If I don't come back, you tell Mother I love her.
Your mother's dead, Llewellyn.
Well, then I'll tell her myself.
And you can always follow me on Twitter